Gas prices are going up, and experts say it's only going to get worse. So let's talk about saving money while getting where you need to go.
In case you don't know us, I'm Larry.
I'm Hope.
And we're from Under the Median, where practical frugality meets real life.
When it comes to saving on gas, it's not just about driving less. It is, however, about driving smarter and knowing how to find the cheapest prices for fuel. That's some of the things we'll talk about in this video. Interestingly, so we just saw this on several different reputable news sources last week. Every summer, you always have the prices of gas going up because there's more demand. This summer, they're saying it's going to go up higher than usual, and it's also the diesel gas prices that are being affected, which means that you're going to see a rise in prices on anything that is shipped, which is, well, pretty much everything. So how do you save on gas? Let's talk about it.
Tip number 1, start a price book. We call this the glove box game changer. It's a written chart of all the times that you put gas in your car. I've done this since I started driving my very first car because my dad did this with his cars. And it helped him to know how his car was performing and how gas prices were changing. And it allowed him to see, is the car running good and how are the gas prices fluctuating and how should he drive accordingly. So here's what I put down. I have a column for date, one for the total odometer, that would be the total miles on the car, one for the trip odometer, that tells me how much I drove between times of each time between this fill, the amount of gallons that I put in this time, the dollar per gallon, and the miles per gallon. And then the last column over here is cost. So you can see that there really is quite a bit of information in here, but it's very important to know exactly how your car is doing.
And this really has helped us to understand the miles per gallon that we're getting. We get between 50 and 55 miles per gallon in our Prius. And we could tell you that. If somebody stopped you and said, how many miles per gallon are you getting? Would you know that information? That is an important piece of information to know because you can't change what you don't know. You can't improve those miles per gallon and effectively track those changes if you don't know where you're starting. So start a price book, and that way you've got a starting point for knowing where you need to go.
One of the things that I have found with the cars is that they get a little better mileage as the temperatures warm up because now the engine doesn't have as much friction built up because it's so cold. So as we get into spring and summer, it actually does the best when it's warm.
Tip number 2, find the lowest price in town to fill up, and do not assume that you have found that place and it's always going to be that place. Let me give you an example. We have a Costco membership, and all kinds of people are like, Costco, it is the least expensive place to fill up in town. And the answer is sometimes.
Sometimes it is.
I was there last week and I checked the price at Costco, and then I used something called Gas Buddy. We highly recommend Gas Buddy. It's
Excellent.
an app. You can download it to your phone, or you can look at Gas Buddy online without downloading the app. It's going to search for you in a certain area. So you tell Gas Buddy where you're at and how many miles from that point you want it to check all the gasoline stations. And it will tell you where the cheapest price is per gallon for gasoline. And in that instance, it was not Costco. It was another little place we go across town a lot of the times. It had the least expensive price for gasoline.
And check to make sure that that least expensive place is staying that way. By checking it, you can compare it to other stations in your area. This one particular gas station is really our best place to get gas. So we make sure that when we get gas there, we've got a reason to be in that part of town. So we don't just run over there and get gas from our home. We want to make sure that we have a purpose for being in that part of town so it doesn't cost us as much to get there and then get back home.
Which brings us to our next tip, which is combine errands. If you're going to get in your car and go someplace, make sure that you are stopping more than one place. I usually am the person who makes the list of all the places we're going to stop and each errand that we're going to do at each stop. Larry, is my map person.
I'll take a look at her list and I'll plot to make sure that the first place that we go to is closest to the second place and the third place and the fourth place, so that they all run kind of in line with each other. So I'll mark on her list the number order, which place we're going to stop in what order, so we make the most efficient use of that route.
Can we just swing back to the gas station for a minute? We're back at the gas station. You're filling up. You have found the least expensive price in town for the grade of gasoline that you purchase. You're there, you're filling up, and you fill up there a lot. And you're going to ask them, do you have some sort of a savings program? A lot of gas stations do. Shell, I know for sure, has a gas program. It's like a frequent buyer program,
okay,
where you sign up and you get a discount of a certain amount on each gallon of gasoline. Any major gas station that you go to, ask them, do you have that kind of program? Because a lot of them do.
And a lot of stores have a gas program. Kroger's does, where they give you a gas card, you fill up at their gas station, and they reduce the amount you have to pay for certain things that they have in their store. So that's another nice benefit.
You get points for every single thing that you buy, and you have to watch. Like in Kroger, sometimes they'll have specific days where it'll be double points,
yes,
triple points. Sometimes you can even get 4x points. We watch for those times, and then that's when you're going to do like your major grocery shopping and make sure that you're getting those 4x points. Now, there are limitations on the Kroger. You can get up to a certain amount off per gallon. So it doesn't like go up and up and up and up and up if you spend a lot of money on groceries in 1 month. There is a cap on that. There's also a cap on the number of gallons that you can get per month. And the points do expire. I think it's at the end of every 30-day period when those points expire. So check into it. Make sure you read the fine print. But we have found Kroger to be a great program. The next tip is to double dip. Yes, we are telling you to legit double dip.
Yes.
Sometimes you can be using your Kroger reward points to get a certain amount off per gallon of gasoline. And on top of that, you can stack rewards from that specific gas station that you are frequenting. Kroger has some dedicated gas stations, but like in our town, they don't have their own gas station in a lot of places. And so it's specific gas stations in town where you can use your Kroger points. So check into that and see if you can't layer. We love layering discounts. And this is a way that you can do it legit.
If you want more legit ways to save money, get Hope's guide on how to reduce your expenses.
I walk you through 10 different budgeting categories, give you step-by-step instructions on how to save in those specific categories, along with checklist. It's free. You'll find a link to the guide in the description of the video.
The next tip is smart routing, and that would mean less gas burned. Sometimes your Google Maps might give you a route that they want you to take because it's the shortest route, but the shortest route might not give you the best gas mileage. Let's say your short route has 5 or 6 stoplights where you might be stopping every other intersection and you have to wait, and that does take away from your gas mileage. Sometimes you can take the interstate. It might be a half a mile or even a mile more, but you're not stopping. And as long as you're driving at a steady pace, you'll actually get better gas mileage.
Here's an interesting fact for you. UPS, yes, the delivery people, they have a rule that their delivery drivers are supposed to try to follow, which is make as many right turns as possible. Because with right turns, you're generally stuck less time in traffic and you're making turns more efficiently than if you're making left-hand turns.
You'll also want to avoid backtracking. You don't want to be going someplace and then all of a sudden you remember, oh, we have to go here as well, and that's taking you back over the route that you've already driven from. So be careful to make sure that you're tracking your route correctly for the best mileage.
I may or may not have done that a time or two to us.
We all have.
When we're out and there's a stop that I inadvertently forgot to put on our list of places that we were stopping. Don't do as I do. Do as I say, and make that list before you leave home and double check to make sure all your stops are on your list.
One thing that's kind of important here is that we've learned from the mistakes that we've made, and that's why we now have imposed some of these little rules to help us get better mileage and help us improve the way we're doing things.
The next tip, I'll let Larry explain it, but I really like to say it. Glide and coast.
I do this all the time with both cars, with both the Prius or the Honda Fit. It is the best way to drive. While you're driving, look ahead. What's the stoplights doing? What's the traffic doing? If the stoplight is red way ahead and you've got cars slowing down, let off on your accelerator and don't just keep riding it up to speed so that when you get up there, you're going to have to put your brakes on and stop. If you can coast a little bit, that is better. You'll lose a little speed. It's slower, but you're not wasting gas that way. But if every time you drive up to a stop sign at almost full speed and you stop kind of hard, you're wasting energy by doing that. And the same is true when you're starting out from a full stop. Let your car accelerate nice and smooth. You don't have to be, you're not in a race, so you don't have to be the very first one out there. The way that you drive has a lot to do with the mileage that you'll get.
This next tip I see Larry do once a month. And part of that is because we live in the Midwest, where every 12 weeks we have a pretty major shift in the temperature and things like that in this area. And that is to check your tire pressure and check your tire wear. Your tire pressure changes more than you would believe that it does. Now, if you look on the inside front door of your automobile, you should find a series of numbers that tells you what the ideal tire pressure is in each of your 4 tires. Follow that and make sure that you have your tire pressure correct. Believe it or not, by having low tire pressure, you could be losing as much as 3 miles per gallon as far as your car's efficiency is concerned. Now, the next one is to check the wear on your tires, and there are some lot of old-fashioned ways to do that, which includes like putting a penny in there and seeing how much tread you have left.
Yeah.
We have an amazing family-owned tire company in town. If you pull in, they will check your tire wear for you and give you a really honest, good estimate of how much wear and tear is available on those tires before you're going to have to look into replacing the tires.
It's important to note that as it gets cooler, your tires automatically lose pressure. Now, once a tire loses the optimum pressure, those outside points on your tread hit the ground more, and you'll actually wear it more that way. It's also bad for going around corners. The car doesn't handle as good with low pressure at all. So I do make sure that through the winter, I might check them every 2 weeks or so to make sure that those tires are at the optimum level. In the summer, when it's warming up, you want to make sure there's not too much pressure, because that causes the tread to kind of bow toward that middle, and then you're going to wear the middle quicker. So it has a little to do with wear, it has a lot to do with how the car handles, and it has a lot to do with your mileage.
Ride share or work from home. So years ago, it was ride sharing. And if you need to go into an office or into wherever it is that you work, ride sharing still works really, really well. Larry did it for quite some time. There was a person who lived right around the corner from us that worked at the same place, and they shared rides, and the man helped pay for the gasoline going back and forth to the office every day. Really working from home, all of our kids work part-time from home, 2 or 3 days a week. They can work from their office at home rather than go into their physical office at all.
Another tip is watch for Crossstate Savings. Now, we're talking about the United States. And I believe in other countries, like in Europe, it might be that if you're in Germany, your country closest to that, either whatever border you're near, might have the gas cheaper than where you live. And if you happen to be going over there, it's a good time to make sure you can fill up with their gas. And even where we live, certain cities have the gas cheaper than the city that we live in. The city that we live in taxes our gas more. So these are always things to consider while you're trying to get the best price for your gas.
We want to hear from people who do not live in the United States. Is there like a version of going across a state line or going to a different city that saves on gasoline costs? Tell us in the comments section. I'm really interested. And when you're paying for that gas, paying cash might save you. There are some gas stations that if you go into the gas station and you pay with cash, they will give you a certain cents off per gallon of gas that you buy.
The next tip has to do with summer driving mostly, and that is to be careful how you're using your AC in your car. You don't want to use it any more than you have to. So if you keep your car parked in a garage where it's shaded and covered, it's going to be cooler. It won't take as much AC to cool your car down when you get in to drive it. The same is true when you get to your location where you're going to. Park it in the shade. In the shade, once again, it keeps it cooler. I also break down the windows just a little bit. I might open them a ½ inch or a ¼ inch, and that allows some of that warm air that builds up in your car to escape, so you're not building up as much. If I get into the car and it's already hot, it's in the sun, the windows have been rolled up, I'll go ahead and roll down all 4 windows, maybe for the first couple of blocks, to blow that hot air out of the car, and that way your air conditioning isn't working as hard to cool the car down. There's so many different ways to help that air conditioning not to work as hard.
Those sunshade covers that you can get that are they're almost like eyeglasses for the front of your car.
Yeah.
Where it sits on your windshield.
Yeah.
Those work really, really well too in order to keep the car a little bit cooler. Anything you can do that's going to keep that greenhouse effect from happening,
yes,
that's going to help with not turning the AC on. By the way, if you are in town and you're going 30 miles an hour or less, statistically, you should roll your windows down rather than put on the AC. Now, when you get up to highway speeds, that is when it's just as effective or more effective to have your AC on than rolling your windows down, because you get that wind resistance. And if you're going 65 or 70 miles per hour, that's a lot of wind resistance going through your car. So those are the statistics from studies that have been done.
Another thing similar to what Hope was saying, if you're going for a real short drive in the summer, let's say you're going 4 blocks up to the store, don't turn your air conditioning on for that short of drive. That's kind of a wasted use of the air conditioner.
Or walk or ride your bike to the store if you're not getting very much. If it's 4 blocks, then you can probably walk or ride your bike and leave your car at home in the driveway. So consider that alternative forms of transportation.
Yes.
Gasoline costs are one of the big 3 budget categories that we are working on right now. Now, the other 2 budget categories that we are really doubling down on and trying to at least keep in line, that would be the food category and also utilities. Our utility company raised our summer supply rates for electricity by 50%.
We did a very in-depth video where we laid out all of our strategies on how we try to save money in all of these areas. And we even give the results of how we did. If you're interested in that video, it's right over there.